Covering South Bend, Elkhart, and all of Michiana, this is ABC 57 News at 5.
Shots rang out on South Bend's northwest side, leaving one person dead and others injured. ABC 57 is following that story right from the corner of Johnson and Marquette. And hear how soon we could learn more in that investigation into the deadly Martin shooting. And search halted. What's hindering the search for Malaysian Flight 370 for a second time this week? Plus, how crews will soon take their search from the air down into the deep blue seas. Good morning, Michiana. Welcome to ABC 57 News. I'm Emily Pritchard. We've been following those new and developing stories overnight, but first we turn to ABC 57 First Warning Neighborhood meteorologist Tom Coombs, who's tracking the latest for us, and that actually means a little rain. Hey, Tom.
Yes, it does. Not snow, but rain. Now, a couple spots may see a little bit of mix to start things out if temperatures are cold enough, but for the most part, we are tracking rain this morning with ABC 57 First Warning live to off the rate of the rain. Now moving into some of our southern counties, into Pulaski and Stark County this morning. Not reaching the North Judson area just yet. You see it's approaching Winamac, Medaryville, and Francisville, already starting to see some of that light rainfall. As we pan back towards the south and west, again, you see on the wider view here that there's a good swath of rain now across all of central and northeastern Illinois, and this will be working its way in over the next hour. Do expect this rain to really blanket the area by around 6 o'clock this morning, and it's going to be steady rain from here on out at least through midday. Temperatures are above freezing at this time and should stay there. That's good news. We'll see temperatures on the rise today as well in your ABC 57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Forecast. Emily?
Thanks, Tom. ABC 57 is following a shooting out of South Bend's north side. This happened in the 1800 block of Johnson Street around 8:15 last night. Now, that shooting left one person dead and two others injured. ABC 57's Eric Cox is live there with more this morning on the latest. Eric?
Good morning, Emily. Well, the initial evidence gathering portion of the investigation is now over. I've been out here, and the last police squad car left about just 15 minutes ago, and although that's the case, a lot of the details regarding last night's incidents here on the 1800 block of Johnson Street are still undisclosed at this point. Because it was a deadly shooting, the case has been turned over to the St. Joseph County Metro Homicide Unit, and I've actually made a few calls to Metro Homicide this morning in hopes of getting more information from them on the case, and after getting no answer over the phone, I even stopped by their office. Now, while there, they told me that they're still hard at work on the case at this point. They also said that there's still a lot of things about the incident that they just don't know yet. So at this time, they're unprepared to give any sort of official statement to me or anyone else in the media. Now, they say they're still looking over the evidence they collected here on the scene overnight, as well as working to interview as many witnesses as they can to gain a better idea of just what happened last night. Now, police say that when the call first came into them, officers were told to proceed with caution because the shooters were believed to be armed with assault rifles as well as 9mm handguns. Once on the scene, officers armed with assault rifles of their own started conducting searches throughout the neighborhood and even inside a few of the houses here, trying to find the armed suspects. They kept the gathering crowd back pretty far away because the crime scene still wasn't secure, and I've talked to authorities, and they still can't say if they have any suspects in their custody at this time. Now, again, there were 3 victims last night, one of whom is dead at this time. The 2 other victims, their current conditions are still unknown at this time. Officers aren't willing to release that information just yet. Now, I will continue to stay on top of this case this morning and continue making calls to St. Joe County Homicide, as well as other resources I have at my disposal. Hopefully, I'll be able to come up with some new information here for you this morning pretty soon. Live in South Bend this morning, Eric Cox, ABC 57 News.
Thank you, Eric. And this morning, we're learning new information about the deadly Martin shooting investigation. 3 people died in that shooting on January 15th after Sean Bear entered an Elkhart Martin's and opened fire. Rochelle Godfrey and Crystal Dykes were killed at the scene, and police then killed Bear. Now, ABC 57's Eric Seltzer is live outside the Elkhart County Prosecutor's Office with the latest. Eric?
Emily, good morning. We're just a few hours away from a press conference here at the Elkhart County Prosecutor's Office where Curtis Hill, the Elkhart County Prosecutor, is expected to take questions from the media on that Martins shooting. We're also expecting an update on the shooting because Hill took over that investigation from Indiana State Police in the beginning of March. At that time, Hill said that he would review the case and decide if it would go to a grand jury or if the case is closed. He's already met with detectives and has had nearly a month to look over this case. That includes the act of Sean Baer killing 2 people and holding a man at gunpoint, plus the actions of 2 police officers that killed Baer and were honored for their actions in Indianapolis earlier this month. Now, of course, we're going to have a reporter at the scene here this morning. That conference is expected to be at 10 o'clock here today. More information on the results from that press conference. You can find those that information on air and online at abc57.com later this afternoon. Reporting live in Elkhart, Eric Stelzer, ABC 57 News.
And new this morning, a grading policy change in the South Bend School Corporation is causing board members and the administration to butt heads. Under that new policy, an F is now considered anything from 50 to 59%. Now, this worries some board members because it may cause an unfair inflation for students to get less than 50%. Now, students who earn under 50% are bumped up, and school board member Roger Parent sees this giving students who are off to a rough start get a little motivation to improve.
I was thinking about if I'm a freshman coming into high school and I'm adjusting to a large school and I may not be doing so well academically that first 9 weeks and I end up with a 10%. What's my incentive to work hard?
Now, the new grading policy went into effect in January and only applies to high school students only to the first grading period of a given school year. Now, other board members believe there are alternatives to that current policy. And the board hasn't officially heard back from Superintendent Carol Schmidt, but in a statement to ABC 57, she says, quote, "It is not the intent, nor has it ever been, to artificially elevate grades once the committee's review is complete. Any recommendations to changes in the administration guidelines will be shared with the Board of School Trustees." And Michigan Governor Rick Snyder says gay couples who tied the knot over the weekend will not be recognized as married. Now, that affects more than 300 same-sex couples. Last week, a federal judge overturned the Michigan law banning gay couples from marrying. And on Monday, opponents of gay marriage requested that the ceremonies be put on hold while they appeal. The governor's move closes the door, at least for now, to certain benefits reserved solely for married couples.
It's one of the issues that we are trying to address because, again, it is a confusing situation.
Now, a final decision on the legality of same-sex marriage in Michigan is still months away. At 5:30, hear how state lawmakers are reacting to that move. And this morning, an update in the case of a Goshen hoarder with hundreds of eyesore properties scattered throughout the town. Goshen Mayor Alan Kaufman sat down with ABC 57 to address the issue and the problem properties. He says this particular landlord, Ron David Hazar, has neglected homes and tenants for decades. Goshen even created new rules just because of him, but he still finds loopholes.
This guy will rent a property that hasn't been inspected yet or that didn't pass inspection, and he hasn't fixed those things yet.
For any renters watching right now, you should know your rights. There is a state law that says a property should be safe, clean, and habitable. A Michiana Police Department is being recognized as having one of the top DUI task force in the state. Mishawaka Police were given this plaque yesterday for the award, along with a lot of money. Well, the department will receive $8,000 to purchase traffic safety equipment.
I see a lot of camaraderie here. They work together. The officers have a genuine concern to arrest drunk drivers. Now, there's been a history here, especially in Mishawaka, with an officer being killed by a drunk driver. That may motivate them a little bit more.
Now, in St. Joseph County, these efforts resulted in 245 DUI arrests, as well as 173 during Operation Pullover Blitzes. And South Bend's Mayor Pete Buttigieg is officially on his way overseas to Afghanistan. Mayor Buttigieg posted these pictures to his Facebook page late Tuesday night from his naval training station in Chicago. Now, he officially left his post as mayor late last month to head overseas with the Navy Reserves for a 6-month deployment. He should be back in September. And just in time for a hoops showdown, the city of South Bend is making some big changes coming to a street near you. It's the NCAA Women's Tournament Street renaming ceremony, and that's happening tomorrow at noon at the intersection of Michigan and Washington Street. And today, Governor Mike Pence will sign a bill that will provide the first ever state funding for pre-K in Indiana, paying for early education. That's been a hot topic among lawmakers from both parties in recent years, and now it's being pushed through. Now, Pence will also pen a measure that will offer up to $400 million for road funding that will create jobs for Hoosiers. And new this morning, bad weather brought an early end to today's aerial search for traces of the missing Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. That search for that plane has so far been primarily focused on what can be seen on the surface of the ocean, but soon that search will go deep underwater. New satellite images show 122 objects floating in the southern Indian Ocean, and now investigators searching for missing Flight 370 are using high-tech tools to begin an undersea search of that area. And General Motors is struggling to supply customers with loaner cars following that recall of more than 1 million vehicles for faulty ignition switches. CEO Mary Barra says that she told dealers to give any owner of a recalled model a free loaner, and owners don't have to prove their switches are faulty. Now, the automaker is also making special arrangements for college-age customers who might otherwise have trouble renting. Now, GM is picking up the cost of all loaners and rentals. And 511 this morning, crews have not stopped searching for the almost 100 people missing in a landslide. The heart-wrenching moments a survivor says she witnessed when that mud came crashing down. And a fire in Boston claims the lives of 2 firefighters and leaves more than a dozen injured. What fire officials say fueled that massive blaze.
Time now, 5:11. We are tracking rain by 6 o'clock. Expect rain across the metro area. The latest track in your ABC 57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Forecast.